and why people believe what they do. And so we attended all kinds of exciting services. We went to Sikh gurdwaras, we went to Jewish synagogues, Buddhist temples in Los Angeles, Hindu temples in Malibu. And actually my favorite was a pagan ritual I found just a few miles from my university. I had no idea there's a neo-pagan Druid gathering, and they sing songs to Bridget, the bird goddess. Anyways, it's awesome. I recommend it if you get bored. So we would go to all of these services and community events, but one of them really stands out, and it's because it wasn't one of my positive experiences. So we partnered with the Lutheran Club on campus, and they were working with the pastor. And that pastor, the campus pastor, has connections with a lot of the local churches. And one that we were excited to visit was a Black Baptist community church in Simi Valley, California. And the stereotype of a Black Baptist church, right, is all the singing and dancing and fans. That was exactly what it was. It was amazing. I'd never been to anything like this before. I went to Catholic school in first grade, decided I was an atheist, was kind of done with churches. So seeing something so radically different than my upbringing was amazing. 2 hours, the beginning of the service is 2 hours of singing. Everyone's got their fans, there's a full choir. It's just like the movies, right? And then after about 2 hours, which I remember vividly, it was 2 hours because I was starving because I skipped breakfast. But the pastor then gets up there, right? And he does a sermon, right? That goes about another hour. I just can't even believe we're like 3 hours, right? But Sunday church. And after he finishes up, though, he goes to a section right before they wrap up where he invites people to come up and ask him questions that he essentially can kind of give God's answer to. And at first they're simple ones, right? Like, hey, we're having financial struggles. Can God help me find a job? And sure, God will help you find a job. Then there was one, couple came up and they said, we're having trouble making a baby. Can God help us with that? And he goes, look around this room. There's a lot of people that God has helped through, my word, and you will have children. Don't you worry. Okay, whatever, right? But this last one really sticks with me. A woman, I want to say in her 50s, walks up and she goes, my son has leukemia. And let's see. Yeah, so he got really sick this time last year, and I brought him to the hospital, and the doctors were able to save him. But he's really sick again, and I don't trust the doctors, and I don't think medicine can help him anymore. Will God save my son? And he walks right up to her, puts his hand on her, and goes, don't worry, you don't have to bring him to the doctors anymore. God will save your son. And I'm looking around the room, right? I'm going, you're kidding me. He didn't just say that. Is everyone else pissed? I'm pissed, right? Is somebody going to say something? And I said, well, I'm going to say there's 150 people there. And I'm freaking out. I could not believe he just said, ignore the doctors, ignore modern medicine. You're going to be okay. Don't worry about it. Because he said so. And sitting there in that room and thinking about that experience afterwards, it's stuck with me for years. And what's unique about it is thinking about how much compassion that pastor actually had in that moment. I actually think he thought he was doing the most compassionate thing he could. But what he was lacking was the rationality side of it, right? He's missing the science that is critical to our understanding of the modern world. There is a chance that he died because of that advice. And so, it also makes me think back to Corey's story of coming back from war, of the Vietnam veteran coming back from war. And what's interesting about that story is actually there's a lot of rationality. There's a lot of good reasons to oppose war, right? Even to protest your government. But it was not very compassionate to throw rocks at people. And it wound up to the death of somebody. And so, something my company thinks a lot about is how can we make the world a better place? And what's critically important is that we find a balance of reason and compassion. So when you tell somebody, I want to make the world a better place, they go, what do you mean by better? And they should, right? It's a good as the rationality side of me, right? And for me, there are 5 elements that I want when I talk about an improved world. I want the world to be more equal. I want it to be more sustainable. I want it to be more innovative. I want it to be more compassionate, and I want it to have more rationality. But what's critical is that compassion and rationality work together. Because if we rely too much on one rather than the other, we can hurt people. And that brings me to this last story. So a month ago, my business partner and I decided to come up with a project. And we were asking the question, how can we convince more people to do more good in the world, right? There's only so much we can do. So what we need to do, and we're PR people, is how do we persuade others to do more good? And ultimately what we decided, and I think actually the science backs this up, no, I know the science backs this up, excuse me, is that what we need is to get people passionate about something. And honestly, we're all passionate about stuff. I mean, whether it's football or Sunday assembly or your fear of spiders, I'm not sure. We all have passions, but what we need is those passions to align with the best answers and solutions for the world, the most exciting new ideas. And we think storytelling is one of the best ways to accomplish that. And so our story right now is we are giving up permanent residence for the next 12 months to travel the country and interact and experience social issues, today's modern issues. And what we're going to do, if we want to talk about the issue of water shortages in California, we will go spend a few weeks in that town seeing what it's like to not have water to brush your teeth with or to flush a toilet with. If you want to talk about nudity in America and body image and anxiety around it, we will go to a nudist retreat and talk to communities that are challenging those perceptions. If you want to talk about housing issues, we're going to go to Detroit and join people house-wide, because that's their only way to not be on the streets. And there are endless amounts of experiences we're going to have by the end of this journey. And our podcast is what's following this. But what I'm learning most from it, what I think others can gain from it, is this idea of stepping outside of your comfort zone and challenging yourself to bring both compassion and reason to the new things, to the things you don't know about yet. Because then you will have the stories. And then we'll podcast them. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Evan. Let's give him a hand again. And definitely check out his podcast. I was working on a podcast for a long time called The Humanist Condition, which was supposed to be a humanist storytelling podcast. And it was because I couldn't find one already. I couldn't find one that existed. And when Evan came here and said he wanted to talk about his upcoming podcast, The Humanist Experience, I was like, oh. That's the same thing. But actually that's a good thing, because it means we never have to launch The Humanist Condition. We already have The Humanist Experience. I listened to the first couple episodes. It's really good. And in case we didn't reiterate that enough, he's single. And I don't mean to give away any spoilers, but he mentioned if they want to explore nudity, they will go and do that. They already did. So look for The Humanist Experience on Stitcher, iTunes, however you get podcasts, and definitely listen to that. And you just wait for the exciting experiences that will come. Unfortunately, it's audio only, so you'll have to email them for pictures. All right, so without further ado, let's all stand for the last song from the Sunday Assembly Band.
April made that.
Look at that.
This is your last chance. This is your last chance to put why I am grateful.
Pretty paper to pick from.
Right there, paper to pick from. Please do. Put in a little note. Tell us why you love assembly. Tell us all of your warm fuzzies. This is our Christmas present, Sunday Assembly. So next month at our little party, we're going to open it up and hopefully have some warm fuzzies from everybody. Please, please, please put it in there. So, as you have probably seen, hopefully have seen, we've been adding lots of stuff to the calendar. So, now we are starting with my implementation group, which we talked about last time. That's going to be on November 15th. Please check that out. We have book club coming up on the 16th. We have we have the chronic support group, which is coming up on the 18th. So if anyone has any chronic or mental illnesses, please come and join us. We have volunteering serving a meal on Friday the 20th at the Las Vegas Rescue Mission. If you have any questions, Alyssa, please talk to Alyssa. We have a couple spots left for that. And then, of course, we have Turkey Day, Sunday Assembly style. Please come out and join us for a little bit of... We have Turkey Day, Sunday Assembly style. That is going to be potluck. We need you all to sign up. Please come, go on our meetup page or our Facebook group, and we're going to get together and have a good time. So please come and join us. Once again, Facebook meetup, go on there. And then next month we are going to be having a Sunday Assembly party. Did I miss anything?
Yes, we're using the word Christmas.
We're We're taking it back. We're taking it back for Christmas. So, okay.
And I added the movie night.
Oh yes, movie night. I'm sorry, that was not on my list, but that's brand new. Talk to Ashley. She's doing movie night. We've also started up a game night. You can talk to Ashley or Kate as well. They're doing the game night, and occasionally when we have the chance, this month's a little bit busy. We built our own movie night as well, so you can come out and enjoy that. And I know we have tons of kids stuff that is coming up. It's not on the calendar yet, but we are going to get that. So if you're interested in helping with that, please let us know. Cassandra in the back is happy to hear those ideas. I would also like to mention Hal has a meeting coming up next Sunday, November 15th at 1:30 p.m. Raoul, which you got to see earlier as a miracle. He will be talking exactly about that sort of thing: magical thinking, shamans, physics, mediums, and conspiracy theories. It's going to be excellent. If you have any questions, there are more of these flyers on that back table. Of course, Raoul is happy to talk to you about that. So please do. All right, so I would just like to say that with all these things coming up, we're moving fast and we've grown. We want to continue growing. We want to continue doing these things. We want to continue this community. Look at all of the people here today. It's amazing. It's wonderful. I walk into this room and I just feel joy when I see every single individual. And I get to give all of you hugs, and it's a wonderful family, and we want to keep this going. I want to say that in order to do so, we need you guys to help us, because right now, as of now, we don't have the ability to to rent a space for us to be in. We don't have money. We need donations in order to keep this going, to keep this moving forward. And I'm not up here to guilt you into doing anything, but we have lots of donation opportunities. And in order for us to be back here in January, we really, really, really need the community to come together to do that, because you guys are family to me, and I want to keep doing this. We all want to keep doing this, so we need those donations. We've been a little sidetracked by a little bit of bacon, I believe. So now we need to refocus on assembly as well. Church Bacon is going to help us out, hopefully, but they're still working on getting there, and we need to continue in our mission as we go on. So we have things like Mr. Houdini over here, as you can see.
Mr. Hulk Houdini.
Yes, he's the Hulk Houdini. That is one of our little benefits. If you do become a donor or a membership donor, please come out and see me at the donation table, and we can talk more about that if you have any questions. We also have, as we saw last time, the Last Supper level donors. So please come out, talk to me if you have the ability to. We would really, really love it if you could help support us and help us be back here.
Do you mind
and keep
if
growing.
I tell the story for the
Oh, please tell the story, please.
So, a lot of you probably know the story already, but this particular Houdini bust comes to us by way of Penn Jillette, by way of James Randi, by way of a magic museum in New York that burned down a long time ago. When Penn and Teller first visited James Randi's house, he showed them this bust of Houdini, and he was apparently, in Penn's telling, he was bragging about how this is the only copy of the bust in the world, because this particular bust was on display in a museum in New York, and he had a copy of it made, and then the museum burned down, and everything was lost. The story checked out, the bust was burned in the fire, and so James Randi had the only copy of it in the world until Penn and Teller decided to hire a mold maker to sneak into James Randi's house and make a copy of it. After which, Penn and Teller made dozens of copies and decorated their entire houses with these Houdini busts, and didn't say anything to James Randi for years. Until James Randi finally came to Las Vegas, and Penn and Teller both gave him a tour of each of their houses, which were littered with this one-of-a-kind James Randy bust that Houdini bust that Randy was so proud of. And James Randy didn't say a word. And now that Penn has moved into a new house that is not quite littered with Houdini busts, he has allowed us to, his office has given us the mold, the original mold that Penn and Teller made of the bust, to make even more copies of James Randy's one-of-a-kind Houdini bust. And this one here happens to be glow-in-the-dark. That's why it's not the Incredible Hulk Houdini. It glows in the dark, and there are other colors that you can get. You can get the original gray. All of that you can see out on the table.